Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar of Parkland College and MSM Agent East Summit 2020 Live. Thank you all for joining in. I do see quite a lot of people joining in now. Attendees at the moment. We are hoping that you are safe and healthy in your place, wherever you are in this situation. Today, we're happy to come in connect with you through this platform, and I'm happy to introduce to our our facilitator, and Olafson. She is the international student coordinator at Parkland College, and my name is Seno. I am the manager Canada at M Square Media, and I will be your moderator today, and will be taking you through the presentation. Before I hand over the presentation to her, I would like to request all of you to drop in your questions if you have any during the presentation. There is a section called the Q&A in this panel. You can drop in your questions over there. Towards the end of the presentation, we will have a section where we will be able to address to those questions. We would like to address to as many questions as we can. And if in case we run short of time, we will still be able to address you through emails. So without further ado, I would like to introduce and welcome our presenter for today, Anne Olafson. Yes, Anne, over to you.
Hi, thanks, Seno. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And thank you to Seno and the MSM team for arranging this webinar for us. My name is Anne Olafson, and I have worked in student recruitment and admissions at Parkland College for just over 2 years now. This last year has been, I'm sure, very challenging and interesting for everybody across the board. It has been very unique, and there's been so many changes and updates, and thank you so much for your patience and bearing with us through all of these transitions as we try to provide education to the students in a safe manner where we can still provide the quality education, but also keeping in line with all of the government restrictions surrounding this global pandemic that we're all living in right now. So thank you again for all being here, and I'm very excited to be able to talk to you today about the programs offered at Parkland College in Yorkton, Saskatchewan, Canada. So first, we'll just take a quick look at Canada. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the geography here, but Saskatchewan is located in central Canada, right between Alberta and Manitoba. In the slide here, you can see the white dot. That is where Yorkton is located, and that is where our 2 largest campuses are located for Parkland College, and that is where all of our international students will be studying. So just a few facts about Saskatchewan here. We do have the most hours of sunshine in all of Canada. We do have the lowest unemployment rate, and these are new statistics for 2020. So our unemployment rate in Saskatchewan is at 6.8% in 2020, and the national average is 9%. So Saskatchewan, even though we were going through this crazy time, Saskatchewan is still doing fairly well with job opportunities, and our unemployment rate is low at 6.8%, well below the national average of 9%. Our population is just over 1.1 million, and Saskatchewan ranks top for the largest agricultural production in all of Canada, and it's also ranked the best place in the world to invest in mining. Saskatchewan is enriched with natural resources like oil, uranium, potassium, diamond mining, and of course, agricultural productions, which is one of our main industries. We do also have a permanent residency program in Saskatchewan called SINP that is one of the best in the country as well. So just a note about our weather. I know that sometimes in Saskatchewan, a lot of times people, the first thing they think is cold weather, but I do want to just make sure that you do know that we do have 4 seasons. We do have very nice summers. Our summers range from 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, and we do get warm weather well over 30 degrees as well. So very nice summers. In the winter, it is colder, and it is something that you need to be aware of. But really, I look at it as the same as this extreme heat. So when you do have the extreme heat, all you have to do, it's all about being prepared, right? So you have air conditioning to make sure that you stay cool. You limit your time outside, things like that. So in the winter, it's the same thing. We have heaters in all of our buildings and cars in the winter. There's proper winter clothing, and you just limit your time outside. So during those extreme temperatures. So it's really nothing to be overly concerned about. It's something to be aware of. But if you're prepared, it's just no more than an inconvenience. And one thing to note in our international orientation at Parkland College, we do have a session on winter preparedness and safety to make sure that the students are prepared for the winter months and to know what to look out for. So here is a map of Canada again, but this time looking at the after-tax income for Canadian families. So as you can see, the national average for families is just over $71,000 annually, and Saskatchewan is above that at just over $77,000. So one thing to note, we do have a small population in Saskatchewan and we are spread out. So we don't have some of those larger centers where there's a lot of competition for housing and things like that. And so our cost of living is actually quite low as compared to a lot of the other provinces in Canada. And so with our earning potential being one of the highest in Canada and our low cost of living being one of the lowest in Canada, it actually is a really good perk for Saskatchewan residents and a really good place to settle down for that reason. So here is a close-up map of Saskatchewan. You can see on the right-hand side, Yorkton is located there. We are part of the Parkland Region, which is where we get our name from for the college, and we're located by the eastern border by Manitoba. Our two largest cities in Saskatchewan are Regina and Saskatoon, and you can see them. Saskatoon is a little bit to the west and a little bit north, and Regina is west and a little bit south. Regina is about a 2-hour drive away, and Saskatoon is about a 3.5-hour drive from Yorkton. So these are the two cities that our airports are located in. Our national or our international airport is located in Regina, and that is where all of our international students should be flying into. So Regina is our capital city in Saskatchewan, and the population is just over 235,000. And again, as I mentioned, about a 2-hour drive by road. Saskatoon is about 3.5 hours away. And this is our largest city with an estimated population of, around that 300,000 in Saskatoon. So just a little bit of information about the Parkland region. So this is the region that Yorkton is located in and Parkland College is located in. We do have, a few adventures that the students can partake in when they aren't in classes. We don't want them to, only be on campus. We do want them to explore and to take advantage of what Saskatchewan does have to offer. So we do have a few provincial parks right close by in the Parkland region where there's boating, fishing, hiking, and we do have golf courses in the area as well. And then in the winter months, as I mentioned, people do like to go outside in the winter and enjoy the winter months too. So although we don't have any mountains, we do have valleys, which means that we do have ski hills. So you can get outside and enjoy some of the winter months and winter weather. Get outside and have some fun. So we do have 2 ski hills that are very close by Parkland College. So Yorkton is the 6th largest city in the province with a community of approximately 20,000 people. And just a little note about Yorkton as well. So it is a smaller community. We do have a very strong international population with the international students that come every year. We do have quite a few permanent residents in the area too. Our newcomer welcomer center is very supportive. And every year that our international students come, they are welcomed and, really get that, that strong welcome from the international community as well as the rest of the community as well. But it really is a different feel than coming to a large center where you really are just a number and you don't have any interaction to that community right away or get that feeling of family right away. So Parkland College, we were established in 1973, and Parkland College was the first regional college in Saskatchewan. We're public funded and accredited by the government of Saskatchewan. And this photo here is a photo of our main campus, and that is where our international students who are registered in business and our healthcare programs would study at this campus. So this is our Trades and Technology Center campus. This is our second campus in Yorkton. And this is actually our newest campus out of all of the areas that we have. It was built in 2015. And this is where our trades and power engineering programs are held. So in the photo, you can see on the far left, the high ceilings, that is where our shop is located for our trades program. So you can see the big door in the front there. That is where we are able to bring in all of the machinery that the students are able to work on. And so we're really bringing that hands-on training on campus every day. When students are on campus, they have access to the machinery and the equipment. It's not something that they have to go to somewhere else off campus. They get that training on campus every day in their classes. So over the past 8 years, we have welcomed students from all over the world, from India, Nigeria, Jamaica, Philippines, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Nepal, and the Ukraine. So some of the advantages of Parkland College that Parkland College is able to offer. So we do have high quality education recognized by Canadian employers. There's enhanced learning opportunities and industry connections. Small class sizes, as I mentioned, for the trades programs, 12 is the max that we do have in those programs. So a lot of one-on-one instructor time, a lot of time working on the equipment. It just also, again, adding to that small community where everybody knows who you are and feeling welcome in the classroom. So again, friendly and relaxed atmosphere, personalized one-on-one support services. There are scholarship opportunities, and it gives you a chance to experience the real heart of Canadian culture. Again, that smaller community, not too small, but a little bit smaller community where if you do go out, or if you are working in the community, you are going to see people that you do know and recognize. And then we do have the airport pickup services as well. So Parkland College is a member of the Colleges and Institutes of Canada. And Parkland College has also done some international development projects as well as bringing international students to Parkland. So some of the projects we have participated in have been in Tanzania, Jamaica, Belize, and Kenya. All right, so now we will jump into the programs that are available for international students at Parkland College. So here's an overview of the listing. As you can see, there's some business programs. We do have a postgraduate certificate. There's a healthcare, trades, power engineering, and some university options. And these programs are split up into two different sections, I would say. The only reason I'm going to split them a little bit is because the application process is slightly different. So the top programs, the business, the healthcare, trades, and power engineering are all going to be under the skills training section of this presentation, and then we will discuss the university options after that. All right, so our skills training programs, we'll start with the postgraduate certificate in global business management. So this is a one-year certificate program, and this program is designed to prepare students to work in all areas of business and international trade. The admission requirements are a 2-year college diploma or a bachelor's 3 to 4 year degree in any field with a minimum overall 55 in the academics. Our IELTS requirement for the postgraduate certificate is an overall score of 6.5 IELTS with no band less than 6. And career opportunities for graduates in this program would be prepared for entry to mid-level business management positions. So our business diploma in management, This is a 2-year program. It is a diploma. The first year will focus on some of the core concepts of business, accounting, economics, marketing, human resources, things like that. And then the second year will be more focused on the management strategies and management training. The admission requirements for this program are grade 12 with minimum overall 55 in the academics. And the IELTS requirement for our undergraduate programs is an overall score in IELTS of 6.5 with no band less than 5. Okay. And some career opportunities for graduates coming from this program would be administrative coordinators, financial officers, sales representatives, things like that. So office administration, this is a 1-year certificate program. Administrative professionals handle the day-to-day office, and they could be for an individual, a network, or a team. The admission requirements for this program are the same as the business diploma, a grade 12 with a minimum overall 55 in the academics, and the IELTS requirement overall 6.5, no band less than 5. And again, career opportunities for this program, administrative assistants, support persons, or receptionists. One thing about the office admin program is that if you are interested in healthcare, but don't necessarily want to be, a nurse or a CCA, this program, if you take it along with the medical terminology program available, that will prepare you to work in a healthcare office environment. So that would give you a way to work in healthcare without having to be a healthcare professional, I guess. So just another option. So the continuing care assistant, and this is our healthcare program that we have available for international students. It's a 1-year certificate, and students are prepared to work with disabled, recovering, chronically and terminally ill people, and providing assistance with everyday essential activities of daily living. So the admission requirements for this, again, are the same, grade 12 with a minimum of 55 overall. The IELTS requirement, overall 6.5 with no band less than 5. And career opportunities in this program, graduates can work in home care settings, special care facilities like nursing homes, hospitals, or integrated facilities. And just a note about this program as well, in Saskatchewan in particular, in Canada too, but in Saskatchewan in particular, our population is aging, which means that this, our healthcare industry is very important. And so we need skilled workers to be able to take care of the people that are aging. So another thing about Saskatchewan is that, as you noticed, our population is just over 1 million, but we do have a large land area, which means that we are spread out over the province. So that means that there are quite a few smaller communities, and each of those communities has a healthcare facility that needs skilled workers as well. So the province is very, very motivated to have skilled workers in those areas, and the communities are also very, very much wanting those skilled workers to come to their communities, because without those skilled workers, those facilities are going to be closing down, which is not good for the community or the province. So a lot of opportunity for continuing care assistance in the province right now. All right, so now we'll move into some of our mechanical programs. So the heavy equipment truck and transport technician, this is a 1-year certificate that kind of blends 2 different careers into one. So it looks at the heavy duty equipment, which would be like bulldozers, cranes, graders, loaders, things like that. And also the truck and transport machines like trucks, buses, highway transport vehicles, things like that. So you kind of get 2 trades in one certificate. So the admission requirements for this program are grade 11 with the minimum overall of 55 in the academics, and the IELTS requirement overall score of 6.5 with no band less than 5. A note about this program, due to the fact that we will accept a grade 11, the students must be at least 18 years of age before the program's start date. Okay, so they do need to be an adult by the time they are traveling and coming to begin the program. So career opportunities for this program, Graduates will have the knowledge and skills needed to operate, maintain, and repair heavy equipment, but they can work in a number of different industries, transportation companies, dealerships, things like that. So a lot of opportunity again for graduates in this area, again, especially in Saskatchewan, where because we are spread out, there is a lot of transportation needed. Agricultural equipment technician. So this is, again, a one-year certificate program where students will learn the skills to assemble, repair, service, and maintain all types of agricultural equipment. The admission requirements for this program are a grade 10 with a minimum overall of 55% in academics. The IELTS requirement is the same with an overall score of 6.5 with no band less than 5.0. And again, the students must be 18 years of age before the start date of the program. And again, career opportunities, we have such a huge agricultural industry in Saskatchewan. So there are many opportunities at equipment dealerships, large farming operations, there's custom combine companies, lots of different options here for this graduates in this program as well. So automotive service technician. So this is a one-year certificate as well. And students will gain the skills to assemble, repair, service, and maintain everyday vehicles that we use. So like cars and small trucks. So the admission requirements for this program are grade 12 with minimum overall 55% in academics, and the IELTS requirement overall 6.5 with no band less than 5. And graduates could be working as technicians in automotive shops, dealerships, specialty shops, service stations, transportation companies, things like that. Great, and our power engineering program. So this is again a one-year certificate. Students receive practical training in boiler operations, maintenance techniques, and tool use. The admission requirements for this program are slightly higher. They are grade 12 with a minimum overall of 65% in academics, and they do also require a grade 12 math. The IELTS requirements are the same though at 6.5 with no band less than 5. And graduates can work in mining, manufacturing, energy, health, many different industries use boilers and need this type of training. And again, we do have a power engineering lab right on campus. So in our Trades and Technology Center campus. So again, lots of hands-on training, lots of opportunities to work on the machines and to get that training to be skilled and prepared for employment after graduation. So the tuition fees, they're all inclusive when we have them advertised on our website or in our view book. So the business and health programs, they range from 15,500 to 18,500 Canadian, and that's the annual cost, which includes the cost of tuitions, textbooks, fees, and materials for the year. Our trades programs, they run about 20,000 to 24,500 Canadian, and that includes, again, tuition, textbooks, fees, equipment, materials, tools, everything that the student needs. And so there are no surprises later on when they get closer to arriving and starting their program. Just a couple notes about the application process. So for the application, we need international students to complete an application form. The application fee is 140 Canadian dollars. We also need their official secondary and post-secondary transcripts. And we need the proof of English language proficiency, so their IELTS exam. And just a reminder, the postgraduate programs, or our postgraduate program, Global Business Management, has an IELTS score of 6.5 with no less than 6 in each module. And our undergraduate programs need an IELTS score of 6.5 with no less than 5 in each module. So once the student meets the entrance requirements, we will issue a letter of offer. And in the letter of offer, we will request a tuition deposit. And once the student pays the tuition deposit and confirms their acceptance at Parkland College, then we will issue their formal letter of acceptance. And at that point, we do request that students apply for their study permits as soon as possible. The process can take 1 to 2 months. And we all know in this last year that that time frame is quite a bit longer. So we do want to get that study permit in place so that students know that When it is safe to travel, they are able to come and actually take the classes on campus in Canada the way that we all want the international students to experience Canadian education. So, all right, so that is our skills training programs, and I'll just touch a little bit about our university options here. So we do have over 130 different classes from the University of Regina, University of Saskatchewan, and Sask Polytech. More than 80 of them are face-to-face, and the rest are either televised or online classes. There are two types of program options for our university students. So there's direct entry and non-direct entry, and I'll discuss those a little bit in the next slides. And there are also some scholarship options. Along with the Parkland College scholarship program, you also would qualify for the university scholarships as well. So they have an extra opportunity for scholarships if they do take university. So our direct entry programs, if a direct entry program is chosen, that means that the student will submit their application for that program now, and they'll be accepted into the program, and they can start the specific classes for that program during their first year. So it works very similar to our skills training programs. The international transcripts are used for admission, and they will appear on the university account. The program options for the direct entry programs are agribusiness diploma and a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology. So the non-direct entry programs are slightly different. So non-direct entry program means that if a student is applying now from out of Canada, they'd be applying into a pre-professional or a general first year, which would be in arts and science. And then during that year, they would need to apply to their professional program once they've completed all of their prerequisite classes. So the transcripts used for the professional application will be the year one marks that they're taking in that general first year of university, not the international transcripts. So that's the big difference with the non-direct entry. The international transcripts will be used to get into the general year, the arts and science year, or the pre-professional year. And then their year one marks from that pre-professional year will be used for to get into their professional program. So, and just a note that it may take longer than 1 year to complete the prerequisite classes for the professional program. That will just depend on the classes that you're taking at the time, and again, how well you do and what type of course load you need. And so the program options that we do have at Parkland College are the Bachelor of Science in Nursing and Bachelor of Social Work. So just a couple notes about the university applications that are slightly different than our skills training applications. So the student will actually receive a letter directly from the university confirming acceptance into the program. And then we would ask that the student submits that letter to us too, just to make sure that we know that they've received it. And at that point, one of our academic advisors will contact the student and set up a one-on-one virtual appointment and to help the student set up their class schedule. And then again, we would ask that the student would apply for their study visa as soon as possible, just like in any of our other programs. So we do have a scholarship program at Parkland College. We have entrance scholarships and internal scholarships, and we have awarded over $1 million since 2011. So, and just a little notable job opportunities for students while they are at Parkland College. So while they are studying, they will have their study permit, and in Saskatchewan, or I guess, there are ample job opportunities available for international students in Yorkton. And the students are able to work up to 20 hours per week during their studies. And during study breaks, they can work up to 40 hours per week. Once a student graduates, they'll need to apply for a postgraduate work permit. And on this work permit, they can work full-time, which is 40 hours per week. And again, jobs available in retail, business, hospitality, professional services, things like that. And then for our SINP permanent residency nomination program, the requirements for this program are the student needs to graduate from a minimum 1-year program at Parkland College. They need to work for 960 hours in Saskatchewan, And the benefit of the Saskatchewan program, SINP program, is that the hours worked during their studies while they're on their study permit do count towards this 960 hours. So that's a huge benefit for the students to be able to get some of those hours while they are studying as well. And then they do need to receive a job offer that's related to their studies after graduation, and then they're able to apply for their SINP for permanent residency nomination. Just a note about working while attending college. Our programs are set up for full-time learning. So under normal circumstances, students are on campus Monday to Friday from about 8:30 to 3:30 every day, Monday to Friday. On top of that, they will have some at-home homework. And so that does take a decent amount of time, a considerable amount of time. And so we would ask that while we encourage students to work, it's great to get out in the community to make a little bit of extra money and to work on hours towards your SINP hours. However, we really encourage students to make sure that they have enough money before they come to Canada so that they don't need that extra money in case their studies end up taking more time than they're expecting, and they may not be able to work as much as they were planning on. So that just takes some of that financial pressure off. It takes a little bit of pressure off of when they have to work and things like that. So to make sure that their studies are their main focus when they do come, and just knowing that it is going to take full time when they are studying. And I would say that even for the students who are studying online right now, it is still a full-time program. And so I'm sure it is taking a little bit more time than they are anticipating, but just to make sure that when students are coming, that they are aware that the programs are full-time and that it will take up a lot of their time, and so that the job should be secondary after education. All right, and so here is just one of the testimonials from one of our students, our business student from a couple of years ago. All right, and so now there's been a lot of things happening at the college and the world. Everywhere. We're all dealing with COVID in our own ways and having to deal with the restrictions in place. I'm going to go through just some general updates about what has been going on at the college. I won't go into specifics just because some things do change very quickly, and we are in touch with the students as those changes do happen. But this will just give you a general idea of what has been happening. So Parkland College has been approved to reopen to international students. So that means that Parkland College has a COVID-19 readiness plan that's been approved by the province and by IRCC. And that plan includes things that a plan to protect the health and safety of all students in the community. It also goes through how we're going to manage the 14-day quarantine for our students, and including all the arrangements and transportation, things like that. And then also making sure that all of our international students are prepared and understand, how they can get all of the things that they need during quarantine, what's necessary, the health insurance, and just tips and resources so that when they are in Canada, they can remain healthy and safe. So just another note on this, Parkland College is one of the few institutions that does have this readiness plan in place and approved. We were one of the first Saskatchewan institutions worked together on a plan so that we would be ready as a province to welcome international students. And so they are very similar too. So any institution in Saskatchewan has a very similar plan, which again, we were hoping will make the transition just a little bit easier for international students. So any student studying in Saskatchewan will have a very similar path to arriving, to quarantining, and beginning their studies on campus. So currently right now, we do have some onshore international students. We have about 15 studying with us at Parkland College. And these students are experiencing the same program structure as our Canadian or domestic students, which is blended learning. So blended learning consists of some face-to-face classes along with some online components. So due to COVID-19, we've had to make some changes on campus and, restricting the number of students on campus at one time. So that is why students are not always going to be on campus every day from Monday to Friday like they normally would be. So we've had to rotate when students are on campus. Offshore students. We did have a few students start online offshore in their home countries in September. And we're hoping to welcome them to our campuses for a second semester this winter. And our Global Business Management program will begin in January. And we're hoping to have students join us as soon as possible on campus for that program. So we are still accepting applications for this program beginning in January. It is getting close to the deadline though. Again, those study permits are something that need to come through. And so we will accept for a little bit longer, but after that, it would be too late for those study permits to be approved and for the students to be able to arrive on campus. So if study permits are not approved before the start date of the program, which is starting in January, then students are able to join online classes until they receive that study permit approval and are able to travel to Canada. So we're hoping that some of these permits will, the approval process will speed up and we will have some students able to travel for January and begin classes on campus. But we do know that a lot of students won't have their permits in place just yet. And so we are prepared for those students to start online. And for the Global Business Management students, they will need to be here by May. So that is when their second semester would start, and to make sure that they do have 50% of their program being completed in Canada, and where they will still qualify for the postgraduate work permit at that point. So, right, so student preparation for traveling. So most of the students will already have attended a virtual orientation session with our international counselors and program coordinators. And so they will have shared information on traveling to Canada during the pandemic and what's to be expected when they do arrive in Canada. When students do receive approval of their study permit, again, we're asking that we're notified immediately. And our international counseling team is going to reach out to the student at that point again and go over the next steps in detail. The students will be notified of what happens when they reach the border, what documents they need to provide, and what happens if they are showing symptoms of COVID-19. And then once students have made their travel plans, one-on-one virtual appointments are scheduled with the international counselors to make arrangements for their quarantine period and to answer any other questions that the students may have. So the quarantine, again, this is just a general overview of the quarantine plan. So the 14-day quarantine plan that we have is mandatory for all Parkland College students, and it's the law in Canada to quarantine for 14 days after the international travel. So the plan in place that we have in place is the most economical option available, and it also includes additional services that would not be available if the student did quarantine at any other location or was using a different plan. So the quarantine period means no physical contact with anyone for 14 days. And I know that's going to be very hard for the students. We've had questions asking if the students can quarantine at families' houses or things like that. And that's just it's not a possibility. They do have to follow our plan. And if they did quarantine with family, there would be consequences along with that because that is against the law. It is putting their family and friends or whoever at risk and the surrounding community at risk as well. So those are things that we really do need to stress and to make sure that the students are aware that they do need to follow the plan that we have in place, which is where the quarantine will take place in Regina, Saskatchewan at the University of Regina student residence. and the approximate cost for the accommodation and food for this 14-day period will be around $1,000. And as I mentioned, there's some extra services available, and that includes they do have a private room. There's campus security, there's food delivery options, there's a healthcare provider on site that they can ask any questions, or if they need any emergency services, they have that available. There's cleaning services, internet, and after hours check-in. So if they do have a late flight, they always have somebody on campus that is able to check them in and get them settled when they do arrive in Canada. So then just transportation to Yorkton. So transportation from Regina to Yorkton is available for students once they've completed the 14-day quarantine period, and it can be arranged after they arrive in Canada. Our international counselor will be checking in with the students regularly and going through all of the things that need to happen, and making sure that the students are comfortable and understand the situation and have all the information that they do need during that time. All right, so if you want, you can contact us anytime if you do have any questions at int.admissions@parklandcollege.sk.ca, or we do have the information on our website as well. And so I think that is all for my official part of the presentation anyway. We can see if there's any questions that we can go through, but yeah.
Thanks, Anne, for the wonderful presentation. I do see some questions coming up over here. I think we'll just go through each one of them, and we'll try to respond to as many as we can. So some of the questions, I'll read out the question, and if you can just address to our participants. So it says, hello, is May intake available in business course for undergraduate students?
So unfortunately, no, we don't have a May intake. September 21 is our next intake for our business programs.
Okay, the next one is, what is the refund policy in case the student do not get visa for the January 2021 intake?
So we have made an adjustment to our refund policy due to COVID. So normally students would need to have their study permit in place before they do begin classes, because they would be traveling to Canada and taking classes on campus. Because we've had the option to start online and that study permit was not necessary for travel, we've allowed students to begin studying without having that study permit approval in place. We are giving a refund. We are giving a refund if the student is denied. The student will receive a refund of all tuition paid minus a $350 admin fee. So our refund policy is the same. It's just the timeline is extended a little bit now that students are beginning online and may not have their study permit in place.
Well, the next question we have is, what are the co-op opportunities available in Saskatchewan?
So those would be more program specific. I don't have the details on that right now. Trades programs, we do have our apprenticeship come in and talk about some opportunities, and we do have some employers come in and talk about opportunities. Our continuing care assistant program does have a clinical portion, which again will get them working in the healthcare industry there too. But I don't have any more details than that at this point. We would have to get that from the program coordinators.
Okay, the next one is, I need to ask, what are the visa chances when a grade 12 student goes for the certificate courses instead of diploma under SDS, as most of the other province colleges has to offer 2 years diploma program? It's a long question. I don't know if you got
it.
Yeah.
So I would say that I don't believe that the type of program would have any impact on whether or not the study visa is approved. It would be how the study visa application is submitted. So that would be my answer to that. The program should not matter. The only thing that matters for between a 1-year and a 2-year program would be how much time they have their postgraduate work permit for after this program is completed.
Okay, and the next question is, are you open for fall 2021 intake? I mean, is the application open already?
Yes, it is. Applications are open for the fall 2021 intake right now.
Okay, and the next one here is, what are the residence opportunity at Parkland College?
As in student housing, or sorry?
Student residence, yes.
Okay, yeah, so we don't have on-campus housing at the moment, but our international counselors do have some resources to help students find housing. The other great thing about that we've actually found with having the students talking and interacting a little bit earlier this year is that they can, maybe be able to make some friends before they do come over and, maybe join together and have some of those housing arrangements made that way. But yeah, we do assist the students with housing. However, we do not provide a student housing on campus.
Okay. So we have someone over here which says, can you please go over the tuition fee again, please? So I think one of our present participants wants to have more clarity. I mean, wants to see the tuition fee once again. So
for sure. So the tuition fees for our business, health, and healthcare programs are approximately $15,500 to about $18,500. So that's the range for our business and healthcare programs. And for our trades programs, the tuition fees range between $20,000 and $24,500 Canadian dollars annually.
Cool. The next is, how can a student apply for scholarship programs?
So we do have information on our website about scholarships. We don't have many opportunities for the entrance scholarships. However, we do have international students are able to apply for all of our internal scholarships once they do arrive on campus. So.
Okay. So the next question is, what questions are just popping up, so I need to select a little bit. What would be the possible option for an applicant who won't be able to make it for Jan 2021 online classes instead of deferment to September 2021? Did you get a question?
No, sorry.
So it says what the participant is asking for is, what is the possibility for a person to defer from January to September 2021? Is there a possibility if they don't want to do the online classes and at the same time they have not received the study permit? I guess that's the question he wants to ask. Yeah.
Okay, so for the global business management students who had applied and were accepted, they did have a time frame where they were able to defer. That deadline has passed now. I would recommend that any student who does want September intake to apply for September intake. The applications are open now, and so just apply directly into September if that is when you're looking for.
Okay. The next one here says, can a student join a second-year postgraduate program in any university after 1-year global business diploma?
That would depend on the programs and the institution that the student wants to study in. There may be some options, but I don't have any specific information on that right now. That would be a specific question that we would need to follow up on.
Cool. All right. So another one says, is part-time work available for the students in your area?
Yes. So part-time work is available for international students, just like it would be for any other Canadian residents. So again, in retail, we have lots of hospitality, the food industry, things like that. Always, those are great because they're open later in the evenings and available on weekends too, when the students would be able to work. So again, lots of opportunities there. I will say that with COVID, again, some of those places have had to cut down hours and things like that. So just to be aware of that, they are still there. However, the number of hours may not be as many as previously. So again, making sure that those funds are available, that you do have enough money to go to school, pay your tuition, live, have all your accommodations, and have that extra when you are working just as a bonus. And then also that bonus of getting those hours in for your SINP as well. So have it more as a bonus as opposed to a necessity. That will really make studying and your time at the college so much more enjoyable, because you won't be stressing, you won't be spending all of your time either in school or at work. You will have time to actually enjoy the Canadian experience as well, right? That's what you're coming from or for, and that's what you want. We want you to have some fun along with getting your education and moving forward with your future plans as well.
All right, so some of the few questions that I'll be popping up right now would be more towards the admissions requirement, the admissions part. Is maths required for all post-secondary courses? Is mathematics a requirement? That's the question.
Math is only a requirement for our power engineering program. However, we highly recommend it. The business programs do have a lot of math and a lot of accounting, economics, things like that. And so having a background in math will definitely help. But it's not mandatory. Power engineering is the only program that it is mandatory.
All right. The next question, Anne, is how much study gap is acceptable? Study gap is what they're asking for.
Right. So for us, study gap is not an issue for Parkland College. That may come into play in the study permit application, right? So if there's an explanation, if you can explain why there is that gap, what you've been doing in between, why you want to come back to study now, that would be where you'll need to explain the situation and why you're wanting to study at this point. For us as a college, if you meet the entrance requirements, whether or not you've had a study gap does not matter.
Cool. The next one is how many backlogs are you accepted? Okay, how many backlogs can you accept for admissions in diploma and PG diploma programs? I'm just reframing the sentence a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So we don't have a set number, I would say. So you might be able to give a little bit more direction here. We have to look at every situation individually, but if you can give a little bit more input on that, I guess that would be probably helpful.
Yeah. So in regards to the backlogs, like as Anne just mentioned a little bit, we don't necessarily look into a particular set or numbers of backlogs. However, it's not only the admissions letter that we need, but we also require the study permit from the IRCC as well. So keeping that in mind, we highly encourage all of our students or all of our applicants to have as little or as less as they can. So let's say somebody comes from an engineering background and has around 25 backlogs. Well, he may be eligible for an acceptance letter, but not necessarily for the study permit. So we might want to look into that, and then we can then decide on the the applications accordingly. So that's how the backlog works. Okay, next would be, is PTE acceptable? Like, do we accept PTE, Pearson's Test of English?
Yes, so we do have the scores for the other language requirement or language testing centers as well. We can send out that information too. I'm not sure offhand what the equivalent is. I don't have it in front of me, but yes, we would be able to accept that as well, as long as it is the equivalent of our IELTS or IELTS scores.
Yeah. So the next questions would be related to, because I know we have our agents partners with us today. So this is related to the agencies and the agreements and things like that. So the first question would be, it says, can you send us agent agreement? You know, that's what it says. So I think I can take over this one. So
Yeah, for sure.
at Parkland and MSM, what we do is that we would love to work with, you know, any agents across the globe. We do have a procedure on how we onboard agencies into our system. So we have an agent evaluation form, which you can email us at int.admissions@parklandcollege.com, or it can be int.support@parklandcollege.com, and we will be able to give you more information on that. There's a particular form that has to be filled out, and then once you fill that, we require 2 references as well. We will need the details of your referee, 2 of them, and once everything goes smooth, yes, of course, we will be able to you know, share those agreements with you, and you can start recruiting students. In the meantime, while all of those process goes, you know, side by side, if you have any questions, if you have any queries, you can always feel free to send it across to us. If you have any application, do not hesitate to send it to us. We can always look through those as well. So that's how the agreement process works. And the next question, I think it's from our agents. What is the commission rate? Please forward all. Okay, so they're asking about the commission rate as well. And email ID has been given. I think we can just share those details over email to the person. All right, so these are some of the questions. Looks like we have covered pretty much everything. Oh, there's another one that says, if application does not get successful, will application fee be refunded?
Unfortunately, no.
Yes.
It is non-refundable.
Well, cool. We still have some of those, but I think we will have to get back to them over email. Yes, so those are some of the questions that we covered today. Okay. Well, so those are the ones. We still have some of them, and we will get back to all of you over emails. You can see the email ID over there. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us. We should be able to get back to you over email. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for the wonderful presentation. And I hope that our participants have got the information that we shared. And like I said, if there are still more questions, they can always, you know, feel free to email it to us, and we will be able to answer those questions. Is there any last, you know, last sentence or last thing you would like to say to our viewers today, Anne?
Yeah, I just again wanted to thank you all for being here. Again, we know that this is such a crazy time, and I appreciate your time so much and coming to learn about Parkland College. And thank you for all of the support to our agents that we have worked with in the past. We hope that we'll be able to continue to welcome our international students in a safe way, and where we can welcome them on our campus and provide the education and experience to Canadian culture that everybody's hoping for. So we hope that we'll continue to do that, and things will just keep getting better as we move forward. So thank you all for being here. Stay healthy and safe wherever you are.
Yeah. Well, we at MSM, we are always excited to introduce a lot of Agent e-summit and live sessions with all our partnered agents. What I would say is, if you want to stay updated with you know, the schedules and things like that, you may please follow us on all our social media pages, our Instagram or Facebook, you know, things like that. You can also log in and visit our website at www.msquaremedia.com if you want to have the updates on our events. Well, that is it. Thank you all for participating in today's webinar, and we hope to see you very soon again. Stay safe, stay home, and have a very, very successful recruitment season for the coming intakes. Yes, bye-bye.